Are you looking to build a built-in breakfast nook? I think that's what they call it, breakfast bench area. That's what I'm building here today in the DIY series with me, Frank Baltierez, where typically I show you how to build food trucks. But today I'm working on this project inside my house where I'm trying to use the space that I have here because I have this little dining room table, and because of this puzzle, if you guys can see this puzzle, me and my daughter started working on this puzzle, this little Stranger Things puzzle. And to be honest, it doesn't fit on the table, which gave me the idea and the concept to be able to use this space to get a bigger table, maybe a square table, and then also have some storage down here. And then I started looking on YouTube because it's YouTube University, because I also show you guys how to build cool things, especially food trucks. Yes, you heard it right, food trucks, mobile kitchen on wheels, where you can literally make your own food and then take it out in the street and be a mobile vendor, as they call it. So if you want to know more about that, I show you step by step on how you can build your own food truck from scratch. But as I mentioned, today we're working on this one, a DIY bench. And as I mentioned, I did look up some YouTube videos on how to build it. And this is where I got some of the ideas of where to build this, because I have never done this before. I do a lot of electrical work, but obviously it's completely different than framing. So what I did here is, if you guys allow me the opportunity to walk you through it, and maybe it'll help you when you're building something like this, or you have an idea to build something similar in your kitchen, or it can be in your little dining room area, your basement, whatever it is, or maybe you just want a bench to be able to store stuff underneath and then have somewhere to sit up top. For me, it's gonna be like a dining room / breakfast nook area. So what I did, because I didn't want to drill into my hardwood floors, I would technically really cry if I had drilled into my hardwood floors. I just wanted to keep them as, we'll call it factory, or as natural looking, in case I wanted to sell the house one day. So what I did is, underneath here in the wood, I have these little foam pads. Oh, here, just like this. That way it sits away from the hardwood floors. So hypothetically, this is not touching any of the hardwood floors. That way it doesn't get scratched or something like that. The only thing that's attaching it to the house is I started off like this. I put this piece, and then I put that long piece right over there and attached that to the actual framing of the house. So this is what's really the base of everything. And my goal was to put 2 pieces together of the framing per day. One day I got really crazy and I did 6 pieces. So it's almost like 3 days in one. And eventually I finished it off. And yesterday I went to go buy the plywood. I bought it at Menards. I had talked to one of my more expert construction people, and he laughed at me because he's like, dude, you use a joist hanger over there. The only reason I use this one, I didn't even know what the name of it was. The only reason I use this joist hanger right over here is because when I do electrical work in houses, I see that that's how they frame the joists, the floor joists that go across the houses. So that's the idea, hypothetically, of how I got that. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. He's like, dude, are you going to be hanging off that thing or what? I'm like, maybe. So that's why you see this over here. And then I use that one to bring this long 2x4. These are all 2x4s that I use here. So I use this. This is all one piece. And then I brought it right over here to this one. And obviously the 2 that I told you that I put to the wall. And then I took a 2x4 and then I made this piece out. So pretty much what I wanted to do is kind of put them in a sandwich, almost like a T, where I can put a screw, and then I did a pilot hole. So I did this little pilot hole. This is obviously for metal, so make sure, it's not the best drill bit, but you want to make sure that you don't split your wood. I know that one for sure. So that's why I drilled a pilot hole in every place that I was going to put a screw. So that's pretty much what I did. As I mentioned, just to recap, I put this piece and that piece day 1, and then day 2, I put this piece, and then the bottom piece right here, which is almost like the little off the wall legs, so to speak, that you want to call it. The measurements that I use off the wall here is 20.5 inches from wall to the edge of the 2x4, and then I'm going to put a 1/2 inch birch pre-finished plywood in the front as the face. That's what my buddy told me. He's like, make sure you use birch pre-finished because it's already sanded. So then I can just primer it white and then paint it white and maybe put some trim piece on here. I might follow the same trim piece, the baseboard that you see here on my house. I might just follow that around the entire outside of this right here. And then on the top here, I'm gonna make it like a bench where it's a 3/4 inch birch pre-finished plywood with some hinges right here. So I bought that. It's literally behind me. I'm not gonna show you guys because then you guys are gonna see the mess in my house because I have it under construction, so to speak. But that's gonna be part 2. This is kind of just part 1. Before I finished up the framing, I wanted to show you guys how I was doing it. I put these little cripples in right here. That's what my buddy told me to do. He's like, so the wood doesn't bow in and bow out. And then another one right here. So there you go. Oh, and then what I did here is I put these legs, and again, these legs are attached to the wall. I did just everything so it can be as sturdy as possible. Not like the deck I built outside. So it's still standing though, but it's not the best. So right here, I did another piece that does the L part of my bench. Again, I have a screw that goes from here to here and from here to here. That way it gets a nice sturdy connection. And again, some legs that go down. That way it holds up the bench here. And then obviously, ultimately, the goal is to be able to sit down just like this. I put this little cripple in right here. I haven't attached it yet because I was just kind of messing with what size do I need just to make it real nice and snug. So the other measurement that I didn't see too many people talk about on YouTube, because I just kind of sat here and visualized what measurement you need when you're sitting down. So you want to make sure, right, you're kind of sitting down like normal. And what I did is from the floor to the top, I'm at about 19 5/8, so let's call it 19 3/4, below 20, so we'll put it that way. So that's kind of like, I would say, is a normal size to be able to sit in. Obviously I could scoot a little bit more back. I can't right now because there's no plywood back here, so I'd literally fall right in. But if you're sitting here, this kind of would be how you would sit. There would be that piece of plywood that I was telling you guys about with some pillows or some cushions. On the back here, I don't think I'm gonna really add anything for now. That's just my idea. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but ultimately I just wanna make sure that I get this situated. But that's kind of like what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is just my little project that I have going on here. It's a little L-shaped built-in breakfast nook. I'm not sure if my explanation helped you out or it didn't, but like I said, I saw some of the YouTube videos, great YouTube videos, and I figured I'd just add my 2 cents to the pie to be able to help you guys out if you guys are looking to build a breakfast nook area. Again, I'm not the expert carpenter here. Obviously, you can tell by my skills, but that one on purpose fell. I told you guys it's not attached, but it's not going anywhere. So that is good for me. If it can hold me and maybe 5 people, 6 people, then that'll be perfect. Oh, one more thing. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna do here in the front. So right here in the front, you guys can see this little cubby that I have right here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring that piece of plywood just a little bit out, maybe like up to here. And then I'm gonna put maybe like a shelf. And ultimately what I wanna use this for is just to be able to put my shoes here. Because as I mentioned, I don't have like a shoe rack or anything. I didn't even mention that, but to mention it, I don't have a shoe rack. So I want to just be able to put somewhere where I kind of put my shoes when I walk in my front door. So that's kind of like the idea of what I have for my little DIY breakfast nook area. Hopefully it helps you out. Again, I'm Frank Baltierez, and I show you how to build food trucks. That's really what my expertise is, in building food trucks, electrical work. Framing is something that I just picked up, and it didn't seem terribly hard. So now we get to the carpentry, the finished carpentry. That's going to be part 2. So stay tuned, because hopefully this gets done this month. That's the goal. Frank Baltierez, we're out of here. Thank you for watching.